All right, so in this one, this video, I'm going to show you how to create action batches and droplets. Okay, so yeah, let's do it. All right, so what I want to do is this. So an action, basically, it's just something that you can record a bunch of things that you do inside of Photoshop, right? So you just hit record, you do whatever you want, and then you hit stop, and then what you can do is you can open up another image and then hit play, and it will play the thing that you just did, but now it'll apply it to this image. So it's really useful for like repetitive things that you might need to do. So I've seen some other professors, what they have done is that they'll have other photographers, is that they will actually, they'll have a bunch of things where they want to be able to just quickly make something look, I want to up the contrast and, do a bunch of these like general edits. And so they have buttons, right? So they, oh, this picture is, when they took this picture, the exposure was too low. So they have a button that they click on and then it will like adjust for having too low of an exposure. And then like this one has too much exposure. So they'll have a button that they click on, a different action that adjusts the exposure for that one. And then they'll have another one that, so whenever they get a picture like that, and then they'll have other ones for like, oh, this one needs more saturation. So they'll make an action that does all that, or it needs less, or what have you. So they'll have all these different adjustments, and then they'll just play the ones they need for this particular image. Like, oh, this one's too low in this, and it's too much in this. And so they have all these actions. Instead of having to manually complete those for each one of them, they'll actually they'll actually just have these pre-recordings, and they can just quickly make these little edits, and you can do all sorts of things with this. So like, let's say, a lot, what is it? Instagram, they have those different filters to make it look like it's like a 60s photo, or like, to make it look like it's got some weird thing or psychedelic or something, right? Like these different effects that you can take a picture and throw in it. It does these things. You could make those effects inside of Photoshop and then just record them. And then like, let's say you're a photographer for like weddings. You're like, oh, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put this like filter on there. And then you just have that effect and you can just plop it and go click and then it just does it. You don't have to do it manually each time. And you'd be like, ooh, this photo would be good with this effect. And you can click on it. So basically it's just a way of recording things that you can just apply later on whenever you want. And you can have a whole library of them. And it's very useful. So what I'm going to do for the example here, and what I would like you to do for the assignment, is I want you to make an action that basically applies a watermark, okay? Just because that's a really common thing you might need to do, right? So you might need to have like, oh, whenever I get done my photos, I want to, let's say I'm doing a photo shoot for a family. You want to show them what the photos look like, but obviously you don't want to give them the actual photos. So you put a watermark on it, so that way they can't actually use it, but they can decide which ones that they want. So that's the idea here. So we're just going to make a button that's just going to apply watermarks to our images by a click of the hand. So basically what I did is I have this folder, and in this folder I have a folder that says logo, and it has my logo here, okay, that we made in the previous one. And then here we have just a bunch of pictures, okay, that these are just images I've made for previous projects and stuff. And they're all the same size to make it a little bit easier. But basically, they're just things that I've done that I just want to throw watermarks on, okay? Like this woman with no eyes. It's scary. No anyone's feeling that. Okay, so basically, I just have a folder of those, and that's the originals. And I somehow made a shortcut when I clicked on that. Okay. Let's just get rid of that. I don't know what happened there. I must have clicked shortcut somehow. And then I made an empty folder just called watermark. And the reason why I need to have this folder is that when I apply the watermark, I want it to put them into this folder. That's the idea. Okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to open up one of the originals. Okay, so I'm just going to open up this one just because it's the first one. So I'm just going to plop it in here. There we go. So now we got our picture. So what I need to do is start recording this. Okay? So to do that, you go to Windows, Actions, and then you're going to see this here. Now, you can see this one already has some of these like default ones, and you can play around with these if you want. Like you can just play them, but like I could grab the vignette, and then if I hit play, it's going to, the command feather is not currently, oh wait, stop. It might be because it's locked. Let's try it now. Okay, and let's hit play. Whatever. We'll just hit continue. And it's going to not do anything. It didn't work well at all. Alright, let's get rid of you. None of you were helpful. Alright, let's try a different one. That vignette one was... Let's try molten lead. I don't even know what that does. So it automatically makes this thing that we could use for something. I don't find that particularly useful, but that's cool. Sepia toning. Let's try that one. So I select it, and you just hit play. And it makes the sepia tone, applies the sepia tone thing, okay? So, hopefully you get the idea of what that is doing. Alright. So anyways, there's a bunch of these in here. And when you save yours, this is where it'll show up, okay? So they might have folders, so there's this default actions folder. I'm just going to make a new one, and I'll just call it, like, My Actions, okay? So My Actions will go inside of this folder. Yeah, I'm not sure what that is, but we'll leave that alone. Alright. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a new action. So I just click on this button, make a new action. And we're going to call this watermark. Okay. So now I have a watermark action inside of my actions. And you see this one has all these ones. And now I have my watermark. Okay. Now you can see it's automatically starting recording, but I can hit stop. And I can also just hit record. So now I'm back to recording. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start making my action. And you're going to see it's going to record all the things I do right here while I'm recording. Okay. So I'm going to do File, Place, maybe it's Edit Place, Edit, File, shouldn't it? File, oh, there we go. Place, we'll do Place Embedded, it doesn't really matter. And go here, Actions, Batch, Droplets, I'm going to go to my logo, and I'm going to select my logo here, and Place. Okay. That's good. Then I am going to, so after it's placed, I want to do everything very like particular, so I'm just going to go ahead and we'll say we'll put it 30 degrees. It might be too much. Let's do 15 degrees. We'll say 15 degrees, and then we will, let's just make it bigger too. So I'm going to take the width here, and let's do like 150. That's okay. And then we'll hit the little checkers. Boom. Okay. Now you can see underneath my watermark, it now has this place, and it shows all the settings. It shows where it's getting the file, shows where it's placing it, what the width and the height and the angle is. Okay, so that's part of my set here. Okay, and I'm still recording. So now what I'm going to do is on this, I'm going to go ahead and put an effect, and we'll just do bevel and emboss. And I want to do emboss. And let me see, we want to do inner bevel. Yeah, I want to do inner bevel. We'll keep it smooth. And I'm okay with the settings. That's fine. We'll hit OK. Or I'm also going to do actually this. We're going to do a gradient overlay. So I'm going to click on gradient overlay and then click on it here. And I'm just going to make sure that it is, let's go this way with it. Yeah, so it goes like that. And we'll hit OK. It's not so much important what I'm doing as far as the settings. Now you can see set layer style, and now it shows all the set layer styles that I'm currently doing. All right. Next thing I want to do is I want to take the opacity of this down quite a bit. Do like, I don't know, an amount that makes sense. All right. And that looks good. And then the, good. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit stop. And now that is an action that I can use on anything. Okay. Now you'll notice that because I kept hitting like adjust, 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 it did one set current layer opacity for each one of these, which is kind of more than I don't need all those. So I'm going to select this guy and just hit trash. And then trash. And then trash. I'm just going to trash all of them but the last one. And yeah, we're going to take this one and trash that one. And then I don't really need a deselect either. Okay. So now all it has is a place, a set layer style of current blah, 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 and that. Okay. So that is my watermark. And if I want to delete the watermark, I can hit trash too. Okay. And if I want to add to it, I could go to the bottom here and hit record. Right. And then I could do other things, like let's just say I take this and I move it, and you can see, And then I can hit stop. And now you can see it's got these other parts to it that I can basically add to. So if you put something in there you didn't want, or you wanted to add something, that's how you would do it. Okay, so that's that. I'm just going to trash both of those. I don't want those anyway. All right, so now I got this watermark. Now I can do this to any of them, right? So I'm just going to go ahead and close this out. I'm just going to close it, and I'm going to open up a different one. So let's apply it to this guy here instead. All right. Now what I can do is I can select my watermark, right? And all I got to do is hit play. And boom, it automatically applies my watermark to this image. It's pretty cool, right? So you can basically go through. Now, this is really neat as far as actions and things like that are concerned. But this could be a little bit annoying if you had a whole bunch of actions. If you had a whole bunch of images. I still have to open up each one manually, and that's a little annoying. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to do a batch, which basically means that you can apply those to multiple images. All at once. Instead of having to open up each one individually, you can apply action. You just select the files you want to apply them to, and it will automatically apply it to all of those. I'm going to show you that in the next video just to keep this one short. What I would like you to do as far as like this week's assignment is concerned is you're just basically going to save one of the images with a watermark on it, and that way I'll know that you did it. Because in order to send me, the problem is with the actions and the droplets and stuff, if you're on a Mac versus a PC, I have a PC right now, so I can read PC ones, but I won't be able to read the Mac ones. So just send me the actual image, all right? And I'll cover this again in the video when I say what the assignment is. But that's what I'm going to want you to do, all right? Okay, so we'll call that good, and I'm going to show you how to do batches in the next one.